To me, one way you can measure stupidity is by doing something and getting a bad result, then doing the exact same thing, getting the exact same result, then thinking it's a good idea to do the exact same thing yet again, anticipating that the result will be different, then being surprised when you get that same bad result. So you do the same damn thing again, and it's a whole big cycle of stupidity. And when I look at stupid and I look at the NFL, one of those organizations that always stands out to me and has over the past 10, 15 years has to be the Buffalo Bills, right along with the Oakland Raiders, right along with the Cleveland Browns. 4 games into the 2014 NFL season, the Buffalo Bills and head coach Doug Marrone specifically have decided that change is needed at the quarterback position. So out is last year's first round pick EJ Manuel as a starter, and in comes journeyman veteran former Bears fourth round draft pick in 2005, Kyle Orton. Why did the Bills do this? Primarily because the Buffalo Bills are stupid. History indicates that. The last time the Bills made the playoffs was 1999. 1999. That was so long ago, I had just graduated high school a few months before. That's a long ass time, a decade and a half, 14 seasons and going. And part of the reason is for stupid decisions like this. In particular, when talking about the Bills, stupid decisions involving the quarterback position. Whether it be freaking starting RoboSack Rob Johnson over the guy that everybody else other than Wade Phillips could clearly see was the better option in Doug Flutie. How did that work out? Never really going all the way with your first round pick in 2004, J.P. Losman. Whether he was going to work out or be a bust anyways didn't matter. But the fact is they never really even got behind him. They never really went with him. And you've got other examples of their mismanagement and flat out bungling of the quarterback position. And now here it is again in 2014. New head coach, same stupid crap, expecting the result to be different when it more likely than not will probably be the same, and then yet they'll be surprised when the result is the same, even though they did the same damn thing that this organization has done for several freaking years to produce the same type of result. Now, I understand that Doug Marrone finds himself in a bit of a pickle here. There's a new ownership group coming into the fold. New ownership means they're going to want their own people. Why would you want somebody else's failures? Why would you want to tie your fortunes and your successes and your hopes to somebody else that hasn't proven that they can get the job done? When in doubt, leadership at the top, new leadership at the top specifically, is always going to want their people. And they're going to want their own people brought in to kind of put that one consistent vision and message in place. So Marrone understands that he's very much on the hot seat this year, whether he deserves to be or not. That's just the reality of the situation. And as humans, we have very much a self-preservationist streak. And that's exactly what this move reeks of. It's self-preservationist. It's a bit of a panic. It's a bit of trying to save himself and throw himself all into this year because nothing else matters to Doug Marrone. I understand that, but I think it's foolish and I think it's ridiculous. My whole thing when it comes to the quarterback position in the National Football League is this. When you're comparing, let's say, whether you start a rookie or a younger quarterback versus a veteran. If that veteran is clearly the better option and he clearly gives you the best chance to win a game during that season, then you owe it to that player, that team, your coaching staff, your organization, your fan base to go with that veteran. Whether everybody agrees with it or not doesn't matter. Your obligation is ultimately to put out the best team you possibly can on a week in, week out basis to try and be competitive and win in the National Football League. And if that veteran does that, then you have to go with that veteran regardless of what the fans or media are going to freaking say. Screw them. What do they know, right? But if you're in a situation where you think the veteran is better, but the rookie clearly or young quarterback clearly establishes that they are the better option, then you have to go with that rookie no matter what your initial plans were. Or if you've got it where the veteran quarterback and the rookie quarterback or young quarterback are all at about the same level, then you go with that rookie or younger quarterback because that veteran is who that veteran is going to be. He's probably not going to get better. And in fact, if he's old enough, he might regress as the season goes on, where that younger rookie quarterback has growth potential, there's upside, there's more ceiling there, so he could potentially end up being better as the season goes along, but he's not going to be any worse. And I look at this whole situation here with EJ Manuel and Kyle Orton. And I sit there and say to myself, this is a clear example of panic move, self-preservationist streak of Doug Marrone, and clearly not understanding how things should work. This also validates to me what I'm believing more and more, that while so many players and coaches in the National Football League like to think the media and fans are stupid, it's the people that should know better that clearly do not know better, the front offices and the coaches that seem to be some of the biggest idiots involved. Because you're going to tell me, if you're head coach Doug Marrone, if you're the Buffalo Bills, that you truly believe that at 2-2, the AFC East now is wide open and you have a chance to really win it. And the guy to bring it home for you at this point in time is Kyle Orton. I could sit here and say, if EJ Manuel had played like total doo-doo the first 4 weeks, that maybe this was the path to potentially go down. But you're looking at EJ Manuel in 4 games, 838 passing yards, 58% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. He also has a rushing touchdown mixed in. So 6 touchdowns versus 3 turnovers, a little over 200 yards passing per game. Now, to me, I look at that and I say, okay, he's not spectacular. He's not winning you a bunch of games, but is he really doing that much to lose him for you? Maybe he's throwing too many checkdowns. Maybe he's struggling to read defenses. Maybe he's struggling going through his progressions. Maybe he's not making the throws that he needs to. But he's also not turning the ball over a ton either. So he's not shooting you in the foot that way. He basically, to a degree, is becoming a bit of a game manager. Maybe not what you envisioned when you drafted him last year in the first round. Again, mind you, head coach Doug Marrone, you were involved in the process, whether you were fully signed on with EJ Manuel at that pick or not. You still had to have some type of input. You still had to side with it and agree with it to some degree. And now, a little more than a year later, for a guy who only played 10 games last season, still technically has less than a full NFL season of experience under his belt, you've determined that you're going to go away from him in favor of Kyle Orton, who you're basically going to expect to manage the game and do the same fucking thing that EJ Manuel is doing. Look, I used to be a big supporter of Kyle Orton, especially understanding, early on in his career in Chicago, that so many people idiotically thought that Rex Grossman was a better option when that clearly wasn't the case. And history has proved that out, in my opinion, to be true. But we're also talking about a Kyle Orton here that's in his 30s, that is who he is. If he was so goddamn good, then somebody else might have actually signed him to be their damn starter in 2014. Now you are sitting there and you're taking EJ Manuel out, a young quarterback with still room for growth potential, room to develop, room to raise his ceiling as a player, who has been, at least if nothing else, somewhat managing the game effectively for you, not shooting you in the foot, and mind you, led you to 2 victories to start off the season. Now you've lost 2. Now it's all fucking panic breaks loose, and you're going to the immobile pocket passer in Kyle Orton with limited arm talent and limited big play ability. Where does this make any fucking sense? It doesn't. The reason this move was made is simple, is because the Buffalo Bills are stupid. Their head coach, Doug Marrone, is stupid. Because even if you sit there and say, well, the Bills found a way to go 8-8 or 9-7 and make the playoffs, or maybe they got hot and they went 10-6 and somehow won the damn AFC East and they did it behind Kyle Orton, that's great. What does that do for the organization long term? All you've basically done is killed the confidence of your young quarterback. What happens if Orton goes out with an injury in a month? Now you sit there, you got to go crawling back to EJ Manuel, and now you're hoping that this is what's going to, really spark something in him, and that's going to get him to play at another level? No, you're probably killing the young man's confidence. This is the type of stupid shit that stupid NFL organizations do. Like I said, the same organization that once thought Robo-Sack Rob Johnson was a better option than Doug Flutie now thinks that Kyle Orton is a better option than EJ Manuel. If EJ Manuel had like 2 touchdown passes and 7 picks, and you're sitting there at 2-2, but you feel like you're 2-2, not because of your quarterback, but in large part in spite of your quarterback, and maybe because your quarterback sucks, then that's one thing. EJ Manuel has not been all that good. He definitely hasn't been great, but he hasn't been that bad. He hasn't been terrible, and he most certainly wasn't bad enough for the Buffalo Bills to bench him a quarter of the way into the damn 2014 season. I get self-preservationist streaks. I get trying to save your ass and save your job. But I'm sorry, at this point in time, I've got to feel that EJ Manuel is the better option to get that done for me than Kyle Orton is. Because even if you say Kyle Orton gets you to the playoffs this year, he's not going to get you back next year. And then you have to go to EJ Manuel. His confidence might be shot again. Then you've got absolutely nothing at the quarterback position. You're right back in the same damn place you've been for freaking years, and you'll be fired any damn ways. This is just astounding. This is just stupid. You know, I get that sometimes the favorite player in organizations and among fan bases is the backup quarterback, but sometimes this shit can get a little carried away and this shit can get a little ridiculous. You have a very hard time telling me at this point in time, somebody who's watched a lot of Kyle Orton over the years, that Kyle Orton is so much more of a better option than somebody like a freaking EJ Manuel. This just reeks of desperation, and a desperation that isn't necessarily based off of a good reality for anything. I mean, this is just more of the same old stupid crap with the Buffalo Bills. And all of it indicates to me that 2014 will mark the 15th straight season that the Buffalo Bills will fail to make the playoffs. This will be another mediocre season, 8-8 or below, potentially a losing record, and then they'll end up having to fire their head coach, Doug Marrone, at the end of the season, and it will have been justified. Why? Because of dumb dick decisions like this. Hey, ding dong, dumb dick. Doug Marrone, seriously. Kyle Orton is here. EJ Manuel is here. When that occurs, you always go with the rookie or younger quarterback because this guy here, the veteran, is who he is. He's not going to get better. If anything, he's going to plateau, stay there, or even regress. This kid at least has the opportunity, offers the potential for growth, the potential for improvement, which is something you clearly don't understand. Clearly. And even if Kyle Orton comes in and manages the game well, not that EJ Manuel did a terrible job of that to begin with, and the Bills win a couple of games in the next few weeks, and people get all caught up in the bullshit, trust me, at some point in time, this will be a failure. It will fall flat on their face, and this will be another lost season for the Bills franchise and their fan base, and they'll have nobody to blame but head coach Doug Marrone and the idiots involved with this stupid organization.